Yo, 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 welcome back. Episode 7, bro, of Dynasty Life Miami. This is your boy B. I'm joined by my dog JP as always. What's up, man?
Chilling, man. Another Sunday here, ready to go, ready to fucking get down on this fantasy football. We got some crazy injuries already, some bad COVID situations. Oh man, this is crazy.
Oh, yeah, and it's not fantasy football season until one of your favorite players go down, bro. Like, that's when you know that you're in the middle of the fantasy football season, bro. So we have a lot of news and notes to catch up on. Um, we just finished up our division roundups, bro. So we're just gonna take it easy on this one. We still got a lot of good information, but I think we got a lot of stuff to catch up on. So we'll jump right into it. But before that, let's drop the information. You can find me at Uncommon Sense on Twitter. Find us on the Apple Podcast, all one word, Dynasty Life Miami. Hit that subscribe button. I've been noticing, dog, that we've been getting a lot of traffic on the YouTube page. So let them know where they can find you. Where's that YouTube page at? Let them know.
Well, you can find me at Salazar305 on Twitter. Also, Dynasty MIA on Twitter, as well as YouTube. Every shout out to everybody dropping comments, liking the material that we're dropping, just viewing it, man. Shout outs to everybody out there, and like Brandon said, anywhere else where there's major podcast streamed on, you just got to put Dynasty Life Miami all together, and you'll find us there, man. We're also
Yep.
on SoundCloud, and we're also on IG at Dynasty Life MIA, just like the Twitter.
Yeah, we're everywhere, bro. We're everywhere. So if you want to get some of that information, just hit us up, look for us, and take a listen. Hit that subscribe button. So yeah, like we talked about, man, we finished up that divisional talking, and we're gonna get into some news and notes. But we're gonna be jumping into another segment, bro. We've been hearing a lot of good buzz about it, so I hope people enjoy it. We're gonna go through another round of the Would You Rather's, bro. And JP, it's my turn on the chair, and I heard you got some fire for me, bro. So let's hit it.
Oh yeah, I got some pretty interesting players to for you to compare. I'm really dying to see what it is that you're gonna tell me here because I try to put you, I try to put you on the good chair, but let's see, man. The first one's gonna be okay. This one's good. I like this one. The first one you rather is gonna be Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. Okay, these guys are basically right next to each other. They're not that far apart. I think they're two rankings apart. I think Josh Allen is number 3, and if I'm or number 2, and if I'm not mistaken, Herbert might be quarterback 5 in the latest July Dynasty League football rankings. So go ahead, man. Let me know what you got on these guys.
Well, starting off right there, it doesn't surprise me that they're that close, man. Because when I started doing my deep dive, um, it started to surprise me just how close they are in just everything. So, Josh Allen, 6'5", 237 pounds, bro, a big boy, bro. So I went over and I looked at Justin Herbert, bro. I was surprised at just how big Justin Herbert was. For some reason, I mean, I know these guys are all big, but I didn't expect them to be 6'6", 236 pounds. So basically, 1 pound difference, 1 inch difference, right? Like they're really neck and neck on everything. Josh Allen last year, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Justin Herbert, 31 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The real difference between these two is the rushing yards, right? Josh Allen, 428 yards on the ground, 8 rushing touchdowns. Okay? And Herbert, only 234 yards on the ground with 5 touchdowns. So already you can start to see where they're very similar, but Josh Allen, we talk about it with Kyler Murray. The rushing yards is where the points get out for touchdowns. I mean, for QBs. Herbert's 2 years younger, but when you're talking the difference between 25 and 22 in the QBs, I really don't take that age into a factor that much. So the guys are neck and neck, and to be honest, I was expecting for it to be a slam dunk on the Josh Allen side, but it's definitely closer than I think. Um, where the real difference is, I expect this to continue as far as Josh Allen getting the rushing yards based on the running backs Buffalo has versus the fact that Herbert has Eckler, who was on pace he was on pace to feed him with 100 plus targets last year. So what that means to me is when you have a running back like Eckler, you're more likely to dump it off. And in Allen's case, he's more likely to take off running. Wide receiver wise, I think we can all agree Keenan Allen is underrated and undervalued in the fantasy community. He's a great wide receiver, and he's really gotten over that injury-prone label. But we also need to agree that Diggs is the superior talent in my mind, and in his prime at 27, while Keenan is starting to come to the end of his prime at 29. I also trust the Bills the Bills front office more than I do the Chargers. So you got Keenan being older. I like the front office of the Bills more. Mike Williams is about to be a free agent. I think they could have made a grab for Julio to give Herbert some more weapons. You know, Eckler is in the middle of a 2-year window, I think, before he's done. So you factor all those things together, even though they're very close, I'm going Josh Allen.
All right. Well, I want to reiterate and I want to correct. Josh Allen is the QB2 and Justin Herbert is the QB6. So I'm sorry. I said 2 and 5. I apologize to all our listeners out there. Our last thing is to misdirect anybody. So I wanted to just make sure and clarify that. I mean, you made some pretty good points. They're really, really close, but to me, the rushing numbers and the 8 touchdowns over the 5 and the 400 yards, it's gonna do it for me because he's gonna do it. You know, Justin Herbert they're kind of both the same. You know, I think just Justin Herbert's looking to pass more than Josh Allen. I think he has more patience to pass. You know, but don't get me wrong, Justin Herbert go rip 30 to 40-yard chunks. He's awesome. You know, he'll get his. But I'm just saying, Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen will take off faster than him in situations. That's why he has better numbers, and I think he's a better runner. You know, he's a better athlete. He's built more for that. So okay, all right, man. I'm not. I mean, I love both of these guys. No knock to any of these guys. I'm a Herbert fan. I'm a Josh Allen fan. I was super high on Josh Allen when everybody was telling me that guy couldn't hit the bright side of a barnyard, and look at him now. I'm really a believer in both of them. But you know, after that breakdown, I would have to agree with you, man. I would have to agree with you, even though I like Justin Herbert, but I would have to agree with you. You know, but I'm good with either. I mean, I'm good with either or though on my team. Let me tell you.
And that's the truth, right? I mean, if you have either one on your team, you're happy, right? Like you're gonna be happy. But if it's a gun to your head and you got to choose, it's Josh Allen. So I think we both agree on that one.
All right, so let's go to the next round of our Would You Rather here. Okay, so I got another good one for you. I have our second one's going to be 2 top elite wide receivers in the game. No knock to any of these guys. This is just perspective. This is just something to break down in your head. If you're in a draft and you don't know which guy to go with, maybe this will help you go with the guy. You know, maybe what we're giving you is what you need, that extra little push. So check this out. Now we're going to go with DK Metcalf or Tyreek Hill. DK Metcalf is wide receiver number 2 right now. And Tyreek Hill's wide receiver number 4. Okay, go for it.
So for this one, right? This one was hard, right? Because having Tyreek on your team, bro, he's a beast, bro. But he's an outlier. The guy's 5'10" and 185 pounds. If you look at the top 10 dynasty wide receivers, he is easily the shortest and weighs the least out of all of them. That just goes to tell you the type of outlier that he is. But he blazes. He's tied to Pat Mahomes. He's in his prime at 27, and he's not like those Deshaun Jackson type of speed guys, those Will Fuller type of guys that they're not catching a lot of balls. This guy caught 87 passes last year, and if you take out 2019 because it was an injury-riddled season for him, you take out 2019, and he had 87 catches in 2018 also. So this guy's getting you PPR points too. He's getting you those first down, so he can hit the home run. We all saw that game where he racked up, I think it was like 200 something yards and 3 touchdowns or some crazy number like that in like the first half. So I mean, this guy is gonna win you a week. He's a beast. He's in his prime. He's tied to Pat Mahomes. So when you hear all that, it's hard to say no to him, right? But let's take a minute and let's look over at DK. You want to talk about a size speed freak. He's 6'3", 228 pounds, and he runs like a beast. And it's not like he's tied to a crappy-ass QB. Wilson is no slouch, right? And he's only 23, so he's just getting started. I went into this question expecting to say Tyreek, but I'm not going to say that. I want DK. I think he can come close to Tyreek's production this year and next year, maybe even surpass it. And on top of that, he has at least 4 more years on Tyreek due to the age difference. It's close enough that some people might not feel that way. Maybe send out some offers if you have Tyreek, and see if you can downgrade in quotation marks to Metcalf and pick up a few years on your dynasty team in the process as well.
Well, you know, me and you are in a league together called Dirty Dozen, and I got both of them. So you know, I'm a happy camper. I would have to agree just on the age. You know, I mean, I know Tyreek Hill's he's in his prime. He's nasty as hell, but I don't even think DK's hit his ceiling yet, man. And I'm really excited to see what he can do there, considering that Russell Wilson stays there. Because there's been a little bit of, I will call rumors. I'm not gonna even call it legit, but there's just been rumors. He's not very happy here and there, not very frequent. But I've heard some stuff here and there that he might want to trade. So, but being tied to Russell Wilson is definitely not a bad thing. This is what makes it hard. They got two legit quarterbacks. I just think that the age for dynasty purposes, now redraft, I'm taking Tyreek Hill, but for dynasty purposes, I'm taking DK. And I agree with you. If you can go and get that DK right now, like straight up for Tyreek, I would do it. I would do it. Not knocking Tyreek Hill at all, but eventually he's gonna hit that age cliff. And you don't have to worry about that with DK. This guy's big. He's strong. He works out in the off season. He's a beast in the gym. And like I said, I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet. And I don't think we've seen the best of him.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I mean, he's going into year 3 now. Lockett's getting a little older, and their defense is not that good still in Seattle. So we can see a whole other level of DK this year.
I know some people are going to say, well, Seattle's a running team. They're not really passing like the Mahomes. And I get that argument. I really do. I'm good with these guys. Like I said, I'm in the league and I have both of these guys. So I'm super happy with that. Obviously, I'm contending this year. Let's see what happens. So let's go to round 3 today. Let's go to the next one.
Round 3.
All right. So right now, I'm giving you 2 elite tight ends. Would you rather Travis Kelce or Waller? Okay, right now, Travis Kelce is the TE1 and Waller is the TE4. Go.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, the fact that Waller's the tight end 4 is just ridiculous in my eyes to begin with. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I don't know. I don't know why people put him above Kittle. I know this is a Kelce Waller question, but I don't know why people put him above Kittle. Kittle had one crazy year, and now all of a sudden he has a whole bunch of target competition. He's got rookie quarterback probably throwing him the ball. He's got injury concerns. Don't get me started there. So for me, I don't even know how Waller's tight end 4. And in fact, if you would have asked me this question last year, it would have been a slam dunk Kelce. But I don't know, and I don't know if this is a hot take, but at this point, I think it's Waller. Okay, he's got a 3-year age difference on Kelce. Kelce's 31 years old, man, and this is a tough position to play. Tight end, you're getting hit over the middle by linebackers. You're blocking, injury. And I think Kelce has had something like 9 surgeries, bro. So Kelce's 31. Waller's 28. Waller is the de facto wide receiver 1 on his team, basically. Yeah, I know they drafted Ruggs and Bryan Edwards and all that crap. But if you're telling me if I'm a QB who I'm throwing the ball to, just watch last year. Derek Carr threw the ball to Darren Waller, and nothing has changed. Henry Ruggs is still Henry Ruggs. And Bryan Edwards, as much as I like him, he's not Darren Waller. So Darren Waller is the de facto, basically, in my eyes, the wide receiver 1 on his team. Okay? And he's going to get the targets. And another important is draft capital. If you want Kelce, you got to draft him even now, even at his age of at being 31 years old. You have to get him at like the 111 or 202, between the 111 or 202 to get him on his team. You're giving up prime running back wide receiver value right there. All right? Waller, on the other hand, is going late 2nd, early 3rd. So while you're still giving up some wide receiver running back value, you're getting a premier tight end, to me, at a discount compared to where Kelce's going. He's only 28, who is only 28, around or so later. So it's close, but I'm taking Waller just because of the value.
Have to agree with you 100% there. I'm gonna go out on a limb like you have in the past two podcasts, and I'm gonna say right now, if you have Travis Kelce, now's the time to get rid of Travis Kelce right now, because his value is not gonna surpass what it is right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not. So I'm not telling you that he's not gonna produce for you, but if you're trying to, dynasty's about value. So if you want to keep the chain going, I'm trying to get the most for this guy right now, and I'm trying to beef up my team right now. I've actually done it because I practice what I preach. I've actually been trying to do it in all my leagues because, like you said, he's a great tight end, but he's banged up. He's 31. Waller's 28, and like you said, there's no Tyreek Hill on the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? So I can't believe that Darren Waller's still considered the TE4. I think it's a total disrespect. They have Pitts over him. We haven't even seen Pitts yet. And I think eventually we should do a show about some of these rankings and how we disagree with some of these rankings and why, because I think we make some very good points. But back to what I'm saying. I'm definitely with you. In startups, I'm going Waller. And it's not any knock to Kelce. It's just, it's dynasty. So I'm trying to keep my team relatively young. And with Waller at 28, that's not really relatively young, but it's still 3 years. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And he is, like you said, he's a tight end, but he's number one on the Raiders, period. So I agree with you there 100%.
Yeah, and just to piggyback what you're talking about, trading Kelsey, right? Just to give you two examples, on one team where I was competing, but I wasn't like I didn't feel like a for sure lock, but I was competing. I traded Kelsey for T.J. Hawkinson and the 201 in this year's draft, and I
Mm,
felt really good about it, bro. I felt really good about it. I gained like 7 years. And then the 201, I ended up getting, I think it was Terrace Marshall or something to that effect. So I was super happy with that type of deal.
I love
Um,
it.
in another league, like the one you were just talking about, Dirty Dozen, where you have both DK and Tyreek. We know I won that league last year.
Yes, sir.
I traded for Kelsey mid-season, got him on my team, and I'm gonna run it back with Kelsey just because that team is so loaded and stacked and ready for another run. You don't want to play with it, right? Don't you? The one thing you want to say is you definitely always want to get value where you can, but you don't want to get too cute, right? You don't want to get too cute, and it's really all about winning championships. So you really got to look at your team and think, okay, am I a contender with another group of 4 or 5 teams that are just as good? So why not get younger and still contend? Or hey, I feel like I'm one of the top 2, 3 teams. Let's not fuck with it. Keep Kelsey on the roster and go for the championship. So don't get too cute. But like JP said, always looking for the value if you can get it.
Well, what's a good scenario? Like if you can trade Kelsey for Waller straight up, I do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but that has to be hard because I
Maybe,
think almost
maybe,
anybody
maybe,
looking at
yeah.
that.
Maybe no, maybe you can. To be honest with you, maybe you can add something to Waller. Because Kelsey is the number one. Maybe depending on how high the person is on Kelsey, you can get Waller and maybe a pick with Waller, like a third or a second. You know what I mean? Because Kelsey's gonna be Kelsey. It just all depends how high the person is on the other player that you're trading. So okay, man. I like where we're going with this. We had some very good discussions, some very good perspective. All right, so let's get down to mayhem now. Like you said, it's all fun and games. So one of your favorite players goes down. Let them have it, B.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So hey, I appreciate the questions, dude. I'm gonna put some together for you next week,
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll get another round of that. Would you rather going? I'm really liking the segment, man. But it's time to get into the down and dirty, bro. And there's nowhere easy to start with it. We're gonna go right into the Cam Akers injury. Yeah, I remember. I think you were the one that texted me to tell me that this guy tore an Achilles, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a good injury, dude. It's not a good injury for a running back. Period. Uh, I don't think there's been a running back that's come back from that injury yet. Marlon Mack is the most recent one, and this is his first year back. And I just want to make a quick point. I know we're both going to talk about it. I want to make a quick point, bro. I find it odd that the same people telling everyone to be that you got to downgrade Jonathan Taylor because Marlon Mack is there now are the same people telling you Cam Akers' career is over because he tore his Achilles when they both had the same freaking injury. So there's a lot of that hypocrisy bullshit going on. People talking out both sides of their mouth. You're not going to get that here. I don't give a bleep about Marlon Mack, and I'm super worried about Cam Akers. Super worried about Cam Akers. I got him in 6 leagues, and I sold him in 1 league for a 2023 first, and I sold him in another league for David Montgomery and like a second round pick. And I'm trying to sell him everywhere I can, dude. I'm really worried about him coming back, and I don't need that. I don't want to be holding the bag. I'd rather be wrong, but then hold on to some guy who's just career as fuck, bro. And I really feel like that's the direction that we're going. So if I can get out on Cam Akers, I am. I'm not buying them on the low or anything like that. If I have to hold some shares, I will, but I'm trying to sell. And the only other thing, Daryl Henderson, everyone's loving the guy. I mean, I know they drafted him in the 3rd round. He's got some talent, but people forget they drafted him in the 3rd round. They saw how he played, and then they went and drafted Cam Akers the next year in the 2nd. So it's not like this guy Henderson is a world beater. I have him in a couple of leagues, and I sold him for a first in 2022 if I can. I think he's going to be an RB2, but I don't think he's going to be all that special. And I think people are starting to overdraft him. He's not Cam Akers. There's a reason they drafted Cam Akers. There's a reason that we were loving Cam Akers, in the first round, early 2nd round in startups. And Daryl Henderson was going in the 13th, 14th round. He doesn't have that talent, and I'm not that excited. I'm not too excited about it. What do you think, man?
Man, this shit majorly sucks. Even though I only really have like 4 shares of Akers in like 25 or 26 leagues, this one mega stabs me in the heart, my brother. I wanted to see it, man. The whole season in that offense, stoked to see the whole outcome. But I feel you for Cam Akers owners out there. I really don't know what to do, but by any means, you can't throw in the towel. But I agree with Brandon. If you can go ahead and get something for him, get something for him. And it's time to get more active, people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get active. I don't think it's a very smart idea for you to waste too much free agent dollars on guys you haven't even seen on the field like Xavier Jones or Funk. And I'm not saying not to get these guys. I'm saying not to go ahead and spend all your money on these guys. Because at the end of the day, they went on and got Stafford, which is a better quarterback. So I don't think they're throwing in the towel. So this leads me to believe that they're going to go get somebody. I don't think they're going to they're going to give it to Henderson. And I don't think those 2 guys that they have, plus the one that they drafted, we haven't seen yet. Maybe he might be something special. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that the Rams are going to be comfortable just going with Henderson and not going and grabbing somebody out there. So, like I said, if you want to go grab Xavier Jones or Funk for $1 or $2 and not risk too much money and see what happens, go for it. But don't go ahead and waste too much money, because if they sign somebody, those FB dollars just went down the toilet, and you don't have nothing to for the season to really spend on a guy that ends up breaking out on the field that you can see, then you're stuck. Just something to look at. Yeah, I think it's a smart move to get him, because if they end up panning out, you're gonna look like a genius. But if they don't, and you spend 80 or 75 out of your $100 on free agent dollars on these guys, and they don't do anything, then you're gonna be in the hole, and you're setting yourself back, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, as of right now, I don't think it's going to be anybody. I mean, I agree with you. I think they're probably going to bring somebody in, but I don't think it's going to be one of these guys that are just out there. Like, I don't think it's going to be an AP. I don't think it's going to be a Bell. Training camp is going to come along and people get cut. We all know people get cut. It could be a Royce Freeman. It could be, they could trade for somebody. There's that possibility, although they don't have a lot of draft capital. They've already traded away a lot of their picks. So that really hurts their ability to go out and get somebody. But, a lot of people said Gurley. I don't know Gurley. People forget that there was that big issue between the Rams and Gurley where the Rams didn't want to pay him his money. And there was that big beef going on, and he had to take them to court or some shit to get them to pay him. So I don't know if a guy is willing to go back to a team that he had to sue or almost sue to get his money back. So I don't think it's going to be Gurley. I don't think it's going to be an AP or Le'Veon Bell, who looked done as hell. So if they do grab somebody, I think it's going to be in those round of cuts that we start to see as training camp goes on.
That's a good assessment. I definitely don't think it's Jones or Funk. I thought Gurley, because he knows the offense. They're gonna get him for super cheap. But now that you bring that up, you're right about that. That's probably not gonna work. And the Geis rumors are starting to come up. He got 4 misdemeanors already dismissed this week. So he's starting to trend up. They're gonna be able to get him relatively cheap. There's a lot of guys that they can go after cheap that are gonna be either equal, in my perspective, or a little lower tier to Henderson, so that they can have like some type of share, some type of share in the backfield, so that it's not all on Henderson. That's what I think they're gonna do. There's also a rumor as well that Melvin Gordon the third Denver might trade him over there. That would be a great fit. I think he automatically starts there, and Henderson's right back to where he started, which is why I'm gonna piggyback off what Brandon said, and don't start going after Henderson and wasting second round or first round picks on this guy, because if that scenario happens, you're just wasting a second round, third round pick on somebody that's gonna be a number two. He'll get some carries, but he's not gonna get you points to win a championship.
Yeah, no. If you have Henderson, I say I sold him like the minute I heard. I sold it before people got their head around him. Like if he's the guy there, he's gonna be an RB2. He's gonna get which is great. But you can find an RB2 anywhere, bro. And if you can get a first round pick for him, sell him, bro. Sell him now, because the fact is either Akers is gonna come back next year and it's gonna put Henderson back down, or they're going to end up drafting somebody, because Henderson's going to show that he's not the guy. Akers can't come back from the Achilles. So, it's like you said, it sucks all the way around. I was excited to see Akers play. He was one of my favorite players coming out. And this summer, I went on a mission to try to grab him on a couple teams. I only had him like on 2 or 3, and now I have him on 6 teams, bro. So I went out of my way to grab him, and that's the way fantasy football works, bro. Especially with running backs. So lesson learned. No matter how much you like a guy, maybe you don't try to get him so much because you want to diversify. But six shares of Akers over 30 teams, 35 teams. It's not that bad, dude. So it is what it is, man.
Yeah, no, and I'm on the same boat. I have 4 shares. I'm in a little bit over 25 leagues, and I'm with you on that. Right now's the best time to get rid of him. If you ask me, his value is going to be the highest it's going to be right now, more than ever. They go and acquire someone of equal or greater value, you're pretty much right back where he was before. So
Yeah, yeah.
I
Sell him
don't,
out.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. If they don't get anyone to really threaten him and you hold on to him, I can see him becoming an all-purpose back. Definitely an RB2. I'm with you on that as well. Could very well definitely transition to an RB1 with all those dump offs from Stafford, but that's just a whole other dream that we're talking about. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, and to be honest, I know we got to move on, but just to add on top of that, to me this actually means more points for Stafford, more targets for Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. They got Stafford. I think they were going to be leaning more pass heavy as it was, but they had a guy like Akers, so I don't think they weren't going to be scared to run the ball. Akers goes down, he's your best running back. Does that mean they pass more? Does that mean more Woods runs? Like they use Woods a lot in the backfield. Maybe they use him a little even more. Higbee gets some more targets that they were going to go to Akers. So this to me gives a slight bump to everybody else on the offense. But regardless, man, let's RIP to Cam Akers. Moving on to the next one, bro. And this one just started coming out just recently. Rumors of Watson to Philly, bro. What are your thoughts, man?
I gotta see this whole legal situation play out as a whole. I'm not buying anything till this guy's done and see what the league's gonna do. He's gonna get suspended in my mind, no doubt, by the league. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if he gets out of all this stuff, all this speculation and all this, and how many games is the question. What's the team willing to pay the most for him? We're gonna have to see. He's definitely a beast. There's no doubt about that. I think it's definitely a crazy rumor. My Hurts hype is gonna it's gonna go down the toilet eventually. I mean, if that guy goes, that's it. That the hype train with Hurts is done. If it happens, it's gonna hurt me personally. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you saw what I did there, but the Hurts hype train derails. I see him asking for a trade. You said yourself that new regime doesn't owe him any loyalty. So him calling it a career in Philly, I see him doing that.
Well,
Maybe moving up.
let me ask you a question to that, man. What if the deal, part of the deal is Hurts goes to the Texans, bro?
Well, that's a great question. Then I would have to see because then it's like Hurts all over again last year. He has to learn a new offense. He hasn't really been practicing with any of these guys. So it's we might get the same Hurts that we got last year. Maybe not. Maybe we got a better Hurts. But remember that whole change of scenery, he's gonna have to adapt to the playbook. He's gonna have to practice with those guys. But it could be a great look for him. Now you bring that up. There's nobody over there to threaten him for a job. He's gonna be a lot better than whoever's over there. I'm pretty sure he can beat Tyrod Taylor out. So that's a great rebuttal to me being down about Hurts. I like
Yeah,
that.
I'm not. I was in the same boat as you, but I started thinking, okay, so they're gonna trade. Philly's gonna trade a shit ton of picks over to the Texans, right? Why not? Texans ask for Hurts, and to be honest, the Texans send what Tyrod over to the Eagles so that they have a good veteran backup to Watson to help cover the time that he's out if he does miss time. So we always look at it with picks and things of that nature, but I think there might be a couple more moving pieces that won't ruin the value of Hurts. So I downgraded him a little bit, but I'm not completely scared off of Hurts because his value comes from his running, and he can do that in Texas as easy as he can do it in Philly. So don't give up hope yet, and don't be hurting too bad, brother.
I like that. I mean, this is how I think it's gonna affect Hurts. Watson will probably get suspended, so he'll obviously take a tumble. But if he starts, let's say 6 to 8 games, like let's say they just suspend Watson for 6 to 8 games, there's gonna be some value there. If they don't trade him for Watson, he's gonna be playing with a chip on his shoulder like that. The other teams that are looking at him will get him another possible starting spot on another team. On another note, that could be good. Like you said, if he gets traded to the Texans, that's not a bad look because he's looking like the fuel general there.
Yeah, yeah. And what I find it odd, right? Like I'm right there with you, right? You assume there's gonna be some kind of suspensions, but dude, I thought Tyreek Hill was gonna be out of the league 2 years ago when we heard those videos, right? Of
Oh
him,
yeah, you're right.
and yet that guy didn't even get suspended one game. And the
Yeah,
fact
but Hurts,
that
but Hunt got destroyed, bro, and his
but
video
he
wasn't even.
they caught him on video kicking a girl in the face though. Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's no video of Watson, right? And the one thing with Watson is there's the new. It just came out today. I heard on the radio. So he's coming into camp, so he doesn't get fined. So he's actually going to be going into camp, and the NFL has yet to put him on the commissioner exempt list. So, and it seems from all the insiders that they seem content that to just let it play out. So there's so many moving parts. We are definitely not the smartest people in the world, and the people who are in charge of all this crap probably don't know what's going on. So it's really hard. We want the listeners to know it's really hard for us to give them exact. Fantasy football itself is trying to see into the future, right? That's the whole purpose. And this is trying to see into the future with a cloudy ass crystal ball. Like what we're seeing now, we don't even know all the information. So does he get suspended? Maybe, but he's not even on the exempt list, which makes me wonder what are they doing over there. So anything can happen. Someone's going to end up trading for Watson, right? It could be Philly. Even Adam Schefter said it. But again, why would you give up a bunch of first round picks for a player that might get suspended 6 games, that might get suspended for the year? So it just seems very hard to see what's going to happen. But we gotta roll with the punches, bro.
Yeah, him going into camp and all that, and not being on the exempt list, that's major upside. I don't know. That
Yeah.
that might mean that might mean something going on. So you guys keep your eye on that.
Yeah, definitely. Keep your eye on it, bro. And like I said, don't. I'm not stressing too much about Hurts. I don't see them trading for Watson and keeping Hurts. That could be just me, but I would think the Texans, if they're smart enough, are going to get Hurts back as part of the deal. Because if Hurts hits, then they don't have to use those first round picks on a quarterback, and all of a sudden they can revamp their team in a snap of the fingers. So let's see what happens, bro. And look, why don't we keep moving, and we're gonna stick to Philly, and we're gonna talk a little bit of Zach Ertz. This is nothing crazy, but 1 minute, just a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, it seemed like Zach Ertz was all but gone. He was either gonna get traded or released, and here we are. Training camp is starting, and Zach Ertz is ready to walk in the door, man. What are your thoughts on Zach Ertz, man? And him staying, him going? What are you thinking?
I think the whole salary cap dropping because of the COVID issue kind of messed everything up for a lot of players, and I guess he's sticking his tail between his legs, bro, and going back to Philly. There's nothing much to say about that. What it does, this it all. I mean, he's gonna play till he gets injured again, and then obviously, it's gonna hurt Goddard. Everybody was like thinking that he was gonna go ahead and be the solid lone one starter there. That's not gonna be the case. But he's gonna be open if Ertz is out there. So don't be so hurt by that. I don't think it's a big deal. It all depends how you look at it, but I don't know. I mean, I think what I told you has a big major deal with that, and the fact that he's already at the age that he's at, and maybe he couldn't get something done because I heard he was supposed to go to Indianapolis to go be with Wentz again, and that obviously didn't happen. Is he going? Is he staying? I think he's just gonna stay because at this point he hasn't gone anywhere. I don't think he's going.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because I think we got ourselves a little debate here, so we can go back and forth a little on it, right? I mean, I think we both agree that Ertz didn't look very good last year, bro. I mean, the guy, he looked to me, at least to me, he looks like dust. So I did a little digging, right? So last year, Ertz and Goddard, they both were injured, and they both only played 11 games. Ertz had 72 targets, and he turned 72 targets into 335 yards and one touchdown. Goddard, on the other hand, had less targets, which was at 65, but he turned that into 524 yards and three touchdowns. So to me, it's clear that Ertz just doesn't have the juice anymore, and I can still see Goddard coming away with 100 plus targets here without Ertz. Even with Ertz, I think it's clear that it's going to shift where Goddard is going to become the clear number one, and Ertz is going to become the number two tight end. I mean, I think based on just look at the analytics from last year, seeing that Ertz got more targets but did way less with it than Goddard did, and it's another year older. I really think Goddard's going to take control. I'm still pretty high on Goddard, bro. I really am, and I think I still think Ertz is going to end up leaving in some capacity. Maybe they cut him. People like you said, people were saying Colts. I heard some people saying Buffalo, and I really can't think of anywhere else that might work. But if they watch the same tape I did, I don't know why they would want to trade for him and take on that contract that he has. So part of me still wants to believe he's leaving, but I'm not giving up hope on Dallas Goedert yet. I think he's the superior player. He's 5 years younger, I believe, 4 to 5 years younger. He's got more juice, and I think he's going to take over number one duties regardless. So I'm still hoping for a top six finish for Goddard, even with Ertz there.
Yeah, I think Ertz is done too, man. I'm not even gonna go back and forth with you. I think that's one of the other reasons why he wasn't able to move his contract, and just the fact that he's already banged up, and TE shelf life isn't very high in the NFL because they take a lot of hits and they gotta take a lot of pounding blocking, and they do a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it has to do with banging. They have always bang and bang and bang and block and bang, and even when they get the ball, they gotta bang. So I think it's that. I think it's a combination of his contract. I think he's done, and there's nowhere else for him to go.
Yeah, nowhere else for him to go, bro. So this could be the last swan song for him, bro. So we'll keep an eye on it for everyone, and just see what happens as training camp goes on. I'm loving, dude. That training camp is starting. We got like 45 days for the first NFL kickoff, bro. So we are getting close, dog. So all of this is gonna be changing and moving. So I'm excited, man. Um, and we're rounding it out. We got a couple more people to talk about here. This one, not too exciting, but I think we should touch on it a little bit. Amari Cooper, bro, he's starting the season. He's starting the camp off on the pup list. Now, it's not the pup list where he's automatically out 6 weeks. We want to make that clear. At this point, he can come back at any time as long as he's not on it before the season starts. But right now, he starts on the pup list. He's got an ankle problem. I believe he had surgery back on January, and it's still giving him some issues. You have any concerns with Coop?
I had to pick him up in a couple of startups just because of the value. I thought where I was at, I had to pick him up, and definitely signs of concern for me. I had to pick him up, like I told you, in a couple of super flex drafts this year, some startups, forcefully because the value was there. It's definitely not a good start to change my feeling about drafting him. I think Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, and Jarwin get a bump in upside for sure for the start off of the season, and depending on the severity of the situation. That's a high passing offense that looked great last year before Prescott went down, man. Could this be the start to of Amari Cooper's decline? It could be, folks. I'm selling right now more than ever, and I'm trying to get the most value I can for him, hands down. To me, it's serious already. With all the time during the offseason, he's had to heal. He's about to hit an age cliff, so definitely something to think about. It's definitely time to get active. We're going to start getting more reports and blurs from training camp, so you got to be active if you want to get those diamonds in the rough before they pop off. That's what dynasty football is all about. And I think that this is the year that CeeDee Lamb cements himself in that offense. And I think that Gallup's gonna have a great year. Like I said, I think they all have a bump in onside. That offense is gonna pass the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried, but not too much, right? I mean, if it's still it's just training camp is just starting. Now, if we're going 2 3 weeks into training camp and he's not out there practicing, now you can start to get concerned, right? But I think Cooper's going to come back. I agree with you. I think selling Cooper this year is a smart move, but I also think doing it right now is not the way to go. Right? This is not a situation where he's out for the year. We know, as long everything we know says he's going to come back soon. I say, and we know he's going to do well. Like you said, they're a passing offense. Dak is a beast. The whole team is fire offensively. So you wait a little bit. You let Cooper get back to playing. He comes up with a couple good games. You put him on the block. That's how you get the maximum value. But I agree with you. Now is the time to sell because I think it's going to be, even if the ankle issue doesn't linger, you know, just in general, he might not even be with the Cowboys next year. There's an out on his clause with, he signed a $100 million deal. They can get out on it. They can get out of it next year. So, like you said, CeeDee Lamb could be taking over. To me, this does make Gallup more interesting. Like you said it yourself, the defense stinks. Dak is back. Gallup is still a wide receiver with upside. But if something were to happen to keep Coop out, Gallup is a plug and play wide receiver too, and he's going as a wide receiver 48. I grab him wherever I can, bro. I think in Dirty Dozen, I traded, I think, somebody for Gallup. People are like, why are you trading for this guy? He's like the third wide receiver on his own team. And he can put up great games as the wide receiver 3 on his own team. And if CeeDee Lamb or Cooper goes out, Gallup is a wide receiver 2. And you can get him cheap as fuck. So, and he's a free agent. So if they don't pay him big money to keep him, just like we talked about Juju, he's going to go out as a free agent. He's going to sign somewhere, and somewhere is going to make him either the 1A or the 1B on an offense. And then you're getting the value as if he's going to be long-term the wide receiver 3 on the Cowboys, which is not going to happen.
Yeah, Gallup's a sleeper, bro. I think he's super majorly disrespected on the rankings all the time. He has a good rapport with Dak Prescott. I like that kid.
Yeah,
it's just he's in. They got a good receiving core, and he kind of like got lost in the shuffle. I don't know how, but I'm excited for him.
Yeah, and like we talked about it, those are the type of players you go out and buy when everybody's just seeing him as a wide receiver 3 in a crowded wide receiver room, and they're not paying attention to his contract status. Right? The Cowboys can't afford to pay Amari Cooper, Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and the other people on the team, and then go and pay Gallup a big contract. They can't, bro. So either they're going to get out of Amari Cooper's contract, which makes Gallup the number 2 on a high-powered offense, which means you want him, or Gallup's going to leave, get paid to go somewhere else and be the man, which means you want him. And guess what? You're buying him now at wide receiver 48 prices. That's fucking money in the bank. Like it's silly how easy. It's silly how easy fantasy football can be sometimes. So,
yep.
All right, bro. So we're gonna round it off. We're gonna go from one injured wide receiver to another, and this one hurt, bro. This one really hurt for me, dude. Michael Thomas, man, find out he had surgery in June. 4-month recovery from this injury. The Saints bye week is week 6, so there's a very real possibility that they could just let him sit until week 7, bro. So having this guy on your team, redrafts, early startups that drafted him, guys that you had him on your team already, 7 weeks without having him play, and we don't even know if he's going to be in good game shape when he comes back. Last year, we kept holding him on our teams, right? Waiting for him to come back. He would come back, not play that well. For me, redraft season, this moves him way down for my board. For dynasty, I'm going to talk pure real talk. I was jumping all aboard the bandwagon this year. I have him in quite a few places. I was buying him, but this bothers me. And right now, I'm selling him where I can, and I feel like you can still get good value from him because again, this is not a long type injury. To be honest, it's not even an Amari Cooper type season because he's not on a great offense. He wasn't going to be on a great offense. The only reason you wanted Michael Thomas was he was going to be the number one wide receiver. He was going to get like 150 targets. So now you can't even get those 150 targets because he's going to be injured for half the season. But the guy's already 28. He's 28 years old. He had a down year last year. And this is just too much to ignore, bro. Too much to ignore. I would trade him. I would trade Michael Thomas and a first and get CeeDee Lamb. I would sell Thomas for Higgins plus, for Brandon Ayuk plus, or even straight up. It's not going to be easy, but like you were saying earlier, you can't just sit on your ass. These are the moves you have to make because if you don't make these moves, you blink and your team is shit for the next 3 years, bro.
I agree with you 100%. I was selling Michael Thomas last year, man. To be honest with you, just when I saw that he got into a fight with a teammate and they took him off a game and he had to sit a game for conduct detrimental to the team, that's it. This guy's attitude, I'm done with it. Like I just don't even want to deal with this guy. You know, at that point, he's too much of a liability for me. And I got two words for you, Brandon. Marquez Callaway. Go get that guy right now.
Or Traquan Smith.
Really like Callaway better.
Yeah, I mean, when you have those two players, I mean, they're both free, basically, dude. So you can get them both. You can take your pick. We don't know who's going to be the number one, but yeah, as much I would get Callaway or Traquan Smith, depending on who's available, you know. But yeah, either one could be. They're both lottery tickets, right?
Yeah. I just right now Marquez Callaway is a free agent, and I think he's more in the free agent in more leagues than Traquan is. That's why I'm telling people to get him. But you're right; they're both a dart throw. I just like some of the flashes I saw last year from Marquez Callaway. To be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, let's just talk the wide receiver room, right? You take out Michael Thomas, and you're looking at Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, and I think something Harris, bro, Dion Harris or what? I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's ugly. What does this say to me? Adam Troutman, right? I mean, Adam Troutman's about to blow up. Alvin Kamara, all the concerns about Alvin Kamara not getting the targets that I even had. I mean, those are out the window, right? They're just gonna feed Alvin Kamara and they're gonna feed freaking Troutman, and whatever's left over is gonna either go to Callaway or Traquan Smith, and that's basically gonna be the Saints' offense. This thing is gonna be ugly, man. It's gonna be ugly.
I like that you brought that up because everybody's been on the mission talking about you know about Kamara. You obviously stated yourself in past previous podcasts he doesn't even have a 1,000-yard rushing season under his belt. How is he going to get the work done? And from one moment to the other, he's right back into the relevant conversation. He's right back getting targets where everybody gets to bump up. I even see Kamara even working out of the slot. I can see it. The problem here is who the hell's going to start at quarterback? Because that makes a difference. Let me tell you, the game plan's going to make a difference. What players are going to shine? All that's going to come into account depending on what quarterback is under center. We know Winston loves to air it out. We know he's going to throw the ball 1,001 times, so that's going to be great. Thing is, if we get the other quarterback, then who's he going to gel with? Who's he going to pass? And let me tell you, he wasn't bad with Michael Thomas. He had good. He fed Michael Thomas the ball a bunch of times. Like he had a rapport, but if Michael Thomas is not there, who is he going to build rapport with? and that's what I'm worried about a little bit with this offense, because they have, like I said, you told me, oh, this guy doesn't have guaranteed money. And Taysom Hill, he doesn't have guaranteed money, but still, they gave him $150-something contract or $140-something million contract, which they don't know him. Probably they could probably get out of it in a jip, but it just makes you, it makes you doubt who's gonna start. Like, to me, they're giving Winston backup money. $12 million is, for me, it's backup money. But he's obviously more of a quarterback than Taysom Hill is at this point. You know what I mean?
And what throws me at it, right, was I hear a lot of people saying, well, now with Michael Thomas out, this means more likely Taysom Hill's a starter, right? They're going to go more run heavy. They're going to try to be gimmicky and things like that. I look at it a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it like, if without Michael Thomas, you have no real receiving threat. They can just bring the house all day. They can crowd the line, and this guy Taysom Hill is not a quarterback, bro. So it makes me wonder if they're gonna have to. For me, I look at it differently. Like, they're gonna need somebody back there that's gonna try to keep the defensive honest. And if they know that Winston's back there and he has an arm, they're gonna have to keep an eye out for Callaway. They're gonna have to keep an eye out for Traquan. They're gonna have to game plan for that, instead of, Taysom Hill's back there, no Michael Thomas. It's basically Taysom Hill and Kamara. This crowd the line. He's not going to be able to do any of those veer options or none of that nonsense. So I'm leaning now even more towards Winston, but I'm hearing a lot of people go more Hill, and it's really one of those things that we talked about. It's really anybody's guess. We won't know until we start seeing the practices, who gets the first snaps in practices, who plays the most in preseason. We won't know anything until the next couple of weeks, and I'm excited to find out, bro.
Well, to me, with this whole Michael Thomas situation, I think that this automatically makes Winston the starter, and I think they're going right back to the offense that they were running last year. I think Winston plays. They have the little gadget he plays with Taysom Hill, and that's it. I think they're going to keep it the same, because
I agree.
If Michael Thomas went down and that was his go-to guy, because let me tell you, he had good chemistry. Taysom Hill had good chemistry with Michael Thomas. But if he goes down, though, you're forcing this guy already to have chemistry with somebody else, and maybe he's not ready for that. And to be honest, the rankings don't help right now on Dynasty League football. Jameis Winston is ranked QB 29 and Taysom Hill's QB 38. So that differential in rankings doesn't really help us in the dynasty world, in my opinion. But I definitely think that Jameis Winston's going to do it, just because he's more of a solid quarterback. He's going to know how to progress through his progressions better than Taysom Hill. And another thing I'm going to tell you guys, I know Taysom Hill looks like a tank. He looks like a strong dude, but he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Okay? He's 30 years old. Take that into consideration. Jameis Winston is still 27. I don't know how the hell, but he's still 27. So I think my hypothesis, like the scientists say, would be Winston. Well, for me, just because he's more of a polished quarterback. He's been there, done that. He's just more of a natural quarterback than Taysom Hill. That's what I think this Michael Thomas injury does. Is it necessarily a bad thing for the Saints? I don't know, because if Jameis Winston's got better and he throws those touchdowns that he was throwing in Tampa Bay with a lot less interceptions, even when he threw interceptions, it was bro, the points he was putting up was ridiculous. Imagine without the interceptions. So Jameis Winston might have a huge bump up this year. We're seeing him at the 29 now, but don't be surprised if he's somewhere at the 15 or the 18 next year.
Oh, I agree. I mean, he's either gonna play well and show that he's gonna starter, and he's gonna get that starter deal. And that's what I know that you talk about his money, that $12 million contract. To me, I don't look at it as a backup money. I look at it as a prove it deal. I look at it as, look, we're going to give you a one-shot, one-year deal. You come in, you play well. Maybe we sign you to a big contract. And if we don't sign you to a big contract, there's 31 other NFL teams that are going to watch you do well, and you can get a big money contract. So I looked at it more like a prove it deal as opposed to a backup money deal. But anything goes, man. I agree with you in the aspect. I think it's going to be Winston. But it just sucks. If we circle back, it sucks that Michael Thomas went down. I think this is starting to be the story with the guy. You know, I used to have this reputation of, you know, this baller, hard worker, and he's been coming like, and I don't know him, and this could just be bullshit, but he seems to have like that diva personality that infects wide receivers, bro. So it could just be one of those, you know, thinking you're the best, and yeah, let it go, and he's just not putting in the work, or he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's time to move on from him. Obviously, don't sell him for peanuts. But you don't want liabilities like that on your team here. You're thinking you got your number one wide receiver ready for the season. No blurs have came out right before training camp. You got this shit.
Yeah, man, he killed me in a couple startups, bro. And a lot of best ball leagues, I was grabbing him in the third round, and I'm like, look at me, I'm a genius. And now I screwed up all my ratio, bro.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. If Winston ends up balling, the Saints are going to look like geniuses for signing this guy for $2 million. Let's be frank here. I'm not even going to take that. I think that was a power move by them. And he's been training. He's been with Drew Brees. He's just been practicing for dying to get on the field for 2 years. I think he seizes the moment. I think he's better than what he was in Tampa. I'm going to be watching those games, and I'm going to be watching him very closely. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you, man. So we'll see what's up, and I think we did well. We covered a lot of news and notes. I'm pretty sure by the time we're meeting up again in a week, there's gonna be a lot more to cover. I know we're talking. We might have a mock draft for you guys, if not the next episode, the one after that, where me and JP are gonna go head to head with each other. We're gonna have the system graded, see which team comes out on top. So we have that coming down the road. We got 4 weeks, gentlemen and ladies, 4 weeks. And the season is upon us, man. We're gonna have some preseason coming soon. So get excited. Everyone get pumping. Get ready because football's coming back, and I'm ready to go, dog.
Yeah, man. One thing I want to just say is and reiterate on is get active, guys. Get active. Don't let these moves bring you down because I'm pretty sure next week we're going to be talking about more players either going down or not wanting to play because of this COVID vaccine fine and all this stuff that we'll probably talk about next week. So make sure you tune in.
Yeah, man. Hey, take it easy, brother. We'll talk soon, man.
You got it. Shouts out to everybody out there.